not a very nice comment. People will say the best way to ruin a relationship is to get married. Okay? And you know why they say that? I'll give you an example that happened, my wife told me, of a couple of friends of hers that were going out together for 8 years. They were inseparable for 8 years. What happened? They got married. And they got divorced 3 months later. And that phenomenon happens, God forbid. It happens sometimes. You've heard such things? People have gone out for a long time. No one else has heard of that? They've gone for a long time, they get married, and it explodes. I want to ask you, why is that? Why is it that a relationship could be people who seem to know each other well, they get married and things explode? Do you have any ideas why that is?
Their expectations change. Once they feel like they're married, so their expectations for that person change.
That's right. Very good. Their expectations change. Because when you're going out, your best foot is forward. Okay? Because really, if you're not committed fully, so my best foot is forward, because if I put the wrong foot forward, the person could be out the door. So you put your best foot forward. And what happens, unfortunately, sometimes if people get married, you're comfortable. Now all of a sudden the guy's a couch potato, you know, he's sitting there with the beer all day, you know, what happened? You were the knight in shining armor before. Yeah, okay, you know, but I have a couple of games up. You know? It changes, and what happens is that always, and this is why we have a 65% divorce rate, what happens is that people then go and say, I want to get. You know, I've been in this relationship, I've been putting a lot into it, I've been investing into it, and now we're married, now I can sit back, and now, give me, I want to get. And once that happens, it's a recipe for disaster. That's not going to work. And so, I want to redefine it in a minute, in an amazing, amazing way. It's a Jewish perspective that I think just coming to hear this idea itself is worth everything. Okay? Does anyone know what the Hebrew word for love is? Ahava. 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 Now, the root of the word ahava is in Hebrew is hav. Hav actually means, you know what it means? To give. That's what love means. From a Jewish perspective, love means giving. It's not what we think. The more I get, this person makes me feel good. They're giving to me, and therefore I love them. It's actually the opposite. The more you give to that person, the more you feel love. Now, of course, if the person is not reciprocal, you need to go to counseling. It's a problem. Normal people are reciprocal. If you're giving to the person and you're there for them, then normally they're giving back to you. But it depends what's your mindset. The love is that I'm giving. Now, here's an amazing idea. I think the whole thing is worth it. It's one idea. The shortcomings of your partner, the shortcomings of your partner are going to be exactly the areas that you need to grow. It's backwards with what everyone thinks. Let me give you an example. So let's say imagine a husband who is a hothead. He's got no patience, he's impatient, he's a hothead, he's angry all the time. So he marries a woman. Now what happens? He happens to marry a woman, it's set up beautifully that she can't cook to save her life. Okay? First day of the wedding, after the wedding, she comes, she cooks, she burns the food. Second day, she burns the food again. The third day, again, she burns the food. Now, what does he want to say? He's a hot. He wants to say, "You idiot! Get to cook a piece of meat when it's with you! You fool!" He wants to let her have it. What's he supposed to say to her? He'll say, "Honey, wow, you made my favorite, very black meat. I love it! This is great! Amazing! Oh, or you know, I got my new tool set. This is perfect with my hammer and chisel. This is great! Honey, that's so amazing." That's what he's supposed to say. Because what happens now is, it's a different perspective. He has to go and see what he has to fix up, which is his impatience and his anger. She's going to have shortcomings that are going to fit in with him if he acts right to her and he gives to her and gets outside his own negativity. He'll become a happy, completed person. He'll feel more love to her and vice versa. And that's what happens when people meet each other. They even sometimes subconsciously pick out people that on an emotional level, not only they're compatible, but they fit each other. But what happens is, when your mentality is, what are you going to give to me, it falls apart. When your mentality is that your shortcomings, I have shortcomings, you have shortcomings, but now we're together, and I'm going to give to you and help you in your areas, and vice versa, then we complete each other. Because people do it on a crazy subconscious level. I'll tell you, I do family counseling. So I remember it was one time, we had a case, it was bizarre. A woman, she grew up as a Catholic woman from an Irish Catholic family in New York, and she wanted to go as far away from it as she could. She was in an abusive house. She wanted to leave it. She converted. She moved to Israel. She married a Jewish guy in Israel. And they came to therapy because, unknown to her, consciously, he was abusive in exactly the same way as her family of origin. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's sick. It's not normal. It's a situation where persons feel, is an abusive relationship. They have to know how to get out of it. But what happens is, when you find another person on the emotional level, there's a match happening. And hopefully, if you do it in a healthy, conscious way, your parts that are shortcomings, we all have shortcomings. But if I'm thinking how I'm going to give ahava to the other one, we're going to complete each other on that second level. Okay? Let me take questions, comments, thoughts on what I said so far, because that was a lot. That piece right there, if we apply that, I think it changes marriage in most marriages in the States today, which are, as I say, more than half of them are doomed. I think I'm nobody here, but I'm saying at the point of what the society is doing today is we have a tremendously high divorce rate. And I hate to say that even amongst those that remain married, many of them are not happy. So something is going on wrong. And I think if we take this idea, we apply it, we can really have a happy marriage. That's the Jewish marriage, which is a very, very happy marriage, very low divorce rate, very happy marriages because it's forgiveness. Now, questions, thoughts on what I said so far? Makes sense? Not make sense? Yes, no, maybe, a little bit. Want some tomatoes you throw at me? I'm easy. Good. Makes sense? Not make sense? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Let's go on. Now, these two levels happen very, very naturally. Okay? When you meet someone, you obviously want to, if you're attracted, then you're physically attracted, and you want to know also if you have an emotional compatibility with them. The next level, though, of the soul, amazingly, is very often not even discussed. Doesn't happen in the relationship. It's called the neshama. Neshama. The third level of the soul is called the neshama. And the neshama is in charge of the mental values of the person. Okay? What do you value? What you think of it, what do you value? And it's amazing. It's amazing. People can actually get married and go through the physical and the emotional and never get to the neshama level, the mental values that we share. They don't discuss it sometimes. It's amazing. Okay? Let me give you an example. Sometimes you have, let's say, an interfaith couple. Now, at that point, what has to happen is the couple have to discuss their value system. What's important to them. And very often I find in counseling that they've never discussed it. So a child then is born, and they have a problem. Because all of a sudden, the Jewish partner says, well, we're going to circumcise this child. And the Christian one says, we're going to baptize the child. And they're stuck. And then what do we do? So they find like this crazy kind of compromise. Okay, well, we'll baptize them with a priest who's circumcised, but we're going to keep them. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like bizarre. We find different ways to go into and to make it work. But these are fundamental things that have to be discussed. And sometimes they're not. And that is a key in the relation. It has to be discussed here. The mental values. Okay? The emotional values also, but I put them mental in terms of what is important to you, what's valuable. Okay, third level. Let's go to the fourth level. Fourth level is a very, very deep level. It's called the chaya. The chaya is the fourth part of the soul. Chaya. That is your unique purpose. Your unique purpose. What is your unique purpose? What's your unique vision of the world? What's your goals? Where do you want to be?